So the first one we have is Kim Stevenson from the Partnership of Water Sustainability, Georgia Basin Inter-Regional Education, another education project. Thank you. I just want to let you know you have 10 minutes because you have a presentation. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, now you can record me. So dependent on them. Yes. So in terms of the interregional collaboration on the waterfront, the CRD is one of 5 regional districts that are partners in the Interregional Education Initiative. And so the reason I am here today is really to roll out or present or release, whatever word you want to use, beyond the guidebook 2010. And I just like to emphasize that, in terms of celebrating the good work that local governments are doing, there's an entire chapter on the CRD and your integrated watershed management strategy and the work that's being done at a staff level by people like Dale Green and Jody Watson, et cetera. So something to be really proud of. And, in terms of why is it called Beyond the Guidebook? Well, in 2002, I was the project manager and the principal author for a provincial document called Stormwater Planning, a guidebook for British Columbia. So we continue to add depth and to build on that foundation. And so in terms of the title today, well, this is the third in the series. It's a progression. We're talking about moving towards sustainable watershed systems, and that's the collaboration that's taking place. Everybody's doing something different, but it all kind of fits together into an overall picture. It's how they share and learn from each other, because the objective is to, ensure that we're moving down in the right direction. And so in terms of the outcome of this collaboration, it's really how to align regional and local actions with the provincial policy, regulatory, and program framework. And our focus is on what we call hydrologic integrity, water balance integrity. So coming at it from that perspective. So even though I have, Madam Chairman, a presentation, I'm only going to talk to 3 of the slides, so don't worry about that. And this is really kind of the key takeaway in terms of introducing you to, let's call it a new paradigm. There's all kinds of new paradigms, right? But to begin to think of watersheds as infrastructure assets. So as local government, you're used to thinking about managing your other assets, right? Your water, your sewer, your roads. Well, watersheds are assets too. And a watershed is an integrated system. And I'm coming at it in my conversation today from the water perspective. And so if you think from a water perspective, there's 3 pathways by which rainfall reaches the creek or water courses. So there's some of it that goes over the land, there's some of it that goes deep down into deep groundwater, but the majority of water that falls in a natural situation moves horizontally through that shallow interflow zone. So those are your infrastructure assets. That's what we're saying about watersheds as infrastructure assets, those 3 pathways, because they are what provides you with water balance services. And that's the kind of the key message, because if they're providing you with services, then you manage them, you protect them. Just going to skip ahead here, because I want to just go to this one, which is really, so when we talk about water, it's really the integration of land and water, and it's the land ethic, right? So it's the land ethic that has the consequences for water. So this happens to be a CRD graphic, but it kind of puts in a pictorial way what I'm talking about when I say a watershed system. And what's the desired outcome? Well, it's to collaboratively manage the landscape to maintain the watershed function, and in so doing create the sustainable communities. Because if you think about this past year being a teachable year, Victoria did quite well compared to the rest of the province, but we're seeing a change, the longer, drier summers, the shorter, wetter winters, and all the implications. So when I talk about sustainable watershed systems, I'm talking about it from both a water use and a drainage perspective, if you want to bring it down to basic language, and how we manage the system. So I'll just skip through to the last one I'm going to talk to. So this is really, in terms of, Beyond the Guidebook 2015, it's not just, well, in addition to being a snapshot of where we're at in a progression over the last 15 years, and telling you that there's the 5 stories in here plus other stuff, it's really also how we will go forward over the next couple of years, next 2 years. And so as we go forward, I'll just very quickly talk you through this diagram here. And so if you look at it, At first glance, it may seem complicated, but it's really quite simple. So, oh, wrong button. That's the button, right? Okay. You see there, I've highlighted in purple, which is really, call it my world for now, which is the world of the partnership in terms of our responsibility for delivering the Water Sustainability Action Plan, which really is a partnership umbrella. That's the significance of the 5 regional district partners, Capital, Metro, Cowichan, Nanaimo, and Comox Valley, because really we all live in this big watershed called the Georgia Basin. So when you're up there at 3,000 feet, that's when you appreciate it. It's just a watershed, right? You're all valleys. So in terms of if you think of what we're doing from the twin pillars, the twin technical pillars for sustainable watershed systems, talking about hydrologic integrity, water balance integrity, well, for the last 15 years, we've put a lot of energy into evolving the science and the implementation, the practical aspects of the water balance methodology, which is how we can translate words like integrated watershed systems into something that's meaningful for performance targets. What we will be bringing along in the next couple of years, is the ecological accounting protocol, which starts to put a dollar value to things to be able to make decisions. And this is where the town of Gibson has established the precedent of actually including a statement in an accounting statement in their financial statement about how one needs to also account for the value of nature. And I'm not talking about the birds and the bees. We're talking about the basic function, which is if you don't manage the water balance, then the consequences are the increased energy for when it does rain erodes, causes you problems. You have to spend money which you don't have cash for to fix it up. But over the next 2 years, really what's the linchpin for what we're going to be doing is a document called Asset Management for Sustainable Service Delivery, a BC Framework. Because this is kind of the linchpin, because going forward, for local governments in British Columbia, if you want the money, then part of the of qualifying is that you have an asset management plan. So what we're talking about right now is, once everybody's got their asset management plans and are moving in the direction of sustainable service delivery, what then? So by the year 2017, our objectives are pretty modest. We just want people to understand what we mean by watersheds as an infrastructure asset and how we value them. And in that regard, in terms of the partnership, the collaboration, Cowichan Valley has stepped forward to be the demonstration, and the other regional districts then will serve as the sounding board. So, Madam Chair, in a nutshell, that's what I wanted to talk about, just to celebrate the good work that this regional district's doing and kind of give you a picture of what we're doing interregionally and where we're going.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker? Seeing none, thanks a lot for coming. We'll keep following it, obviously.
Thank you.
Thanks.